Welcome back to the Phantom Tollbooth. We left off where Milo, Talk, and the Humbug were set to work doing very menial tasks. And we're starting chapter 17. The Humbug whistled gaily at his work, for he was never as happy as when he had a job which required no thinking at all. After what seemed like days, he had dug a hole scarcely large enough for his thumb. Talk shuffled steadily back and forth with the dropper in his teeth, but the full well was still almost as full as when he began, and Milo's new pile of sand was hardly a pile at all. "How very strange," said Milo without stopping for a moment. "I've been working steadily at this all this time, and I don't feel the slightest bit tired or hungry. I could go right on the same way forever." "Perhaps you will," the man agreed with a yawn. At least it sounded like a yawn. "Well, I wish I knew how long it was going to take," Milo whispered as the dog went by again. "Why not use your magic staff and find out?" replied Talk as clearly as anyone could with an eyedropper in his mouth. Milo took the shiny pencil from his pocket and quickly calculated that at the rate they were working, it would take each of them 837 years to finish. "Pardon me," he said, tugging at the man's sleeve and holding the sheet of figures up close for him to see, "but it's going to take 837 years to do these jobs." "Is that so?" replied the man without even turning around. "Well, you'd better get on with it." "But it hardly seems worthwhile," said Milo softly. "Worthwhile?" the man roared indignantly. "All I mean was that perhaps it isn't too important," Milo repeated, trying not to be impolite. "Of course it's not important," he snarled angrily. "I wouldn't have asked you to do it if I thought it was important." And now, as he turned to face them, he didn't seem quite so pleasant. "Then why bother?" asked Talk, whose alarm suddenly began to ring. "Because, my young friends," he muttered sourly, "what could be more important than doing unimportant things? If you stop to do enough of them, you'll never get to where you're going." He punctuated the last remark with a villainous laugh. "Ha ha ha ha!" "Then you must," gasped Milo. "Quite correct," he shrieked triumphantly. "I am the terrible trivium, demon of petty tasks and worthless jobs, ogre of wasted effort and monster of habit." The Humbug dropped his needle and stared in disbelief, while Milo and Talk began to back away slowly. "Don't try to leave," he ordered with a menacing sweep of his arm, "for there's so very much to do, and you still have over 800 years to go on the first job." "But why do you do only unimportant things?" asked Milo, who suddenly remembered how much time he spent each day doing them. "Think of all the trouble it saves," the man explained, and his face looked as if he'd be grinning an evil grin if he could grin at all. If you only do the easy and useless jobs, you never have to worry about the important ones, which are so difficult. You just won't have the time, for there's always something to do to keep you from what you really should be doing. And if it weren't for that dreadful magic staff, you'd never know how much time you were wasting." As he spoke, he tiptoed slowly towards them with his arms outstretched and continued to whisper in a soft, deceitful voice, "Now do come and stay with me. We'll have so much fun together. There are things to fill and things to empty, things to take away and things to bring back, things to open, things to pick up, and things to put down. And besides all that, we have pencils to sharpen, holes to dig, nails to straighten, stamps to lick, and even so much more. Why, if you stay here, you'll never have to think again. And with a little practice, you can become a monster of habit, too." They were all transfixed by Trivium's soothing voice, but just as he was about to clutch them in his well-manicured fingers, A voice cried out, "Run! Run!" Milo, who thought it was Talk, turned suddenly and dashed up the trail. "Run! Run!" it shouted. And this time Talk thought it was Milo and quickly followed him. "Run! Run!" it urged more, and now the humbug, not caring who said it, ran desperately after his two friends with the terrible Trivium close behind. We'll leave it there as they escape the terrible Trivium.